Hey guys, today on Tactical JK we're going to be talking all about cheap headlights, and I'll be giving some of my experiences with these headlights after 4 years of use. So what we mean by cheap headlights are headlights from $50 to $150 kinda. The type you'll see on Amazon and eBay and promoted on Instagram, and the kind that most Jeep owners get because to upgrade to truck light or JW speaker can cost several $100s extra. If you're buying headlights from Amazon, it's important to know that there's only like 5 or 6 different models of headlights, but there's dozens of sellers. These sellers will list their headlights under different names and they'll have different pictures and different descriptions. If you'll read the reviews, they're often the exact same headlight. The headlights I got are the Lansun 7-inch LED headlights. They're basically JW speaker replicas with halos, and they look pretty good. I've had a good experience with them, but there are some flaws I want to talk about, so let me remove the grill and we'll get to the first one. Here we go with the grill taken off. And if you buy a set of headlights like this, all you have to do to install them is take off these 4 screws and then remove your stock headlight. Here's a stock headlight right here, nice and faded. Then you wire your blinker halo to the blinker down there. You wire your main power to the halo in the fuse box to a fuse that only has power when your Jeep is running but doesn't have power when it's turned off. And then you put in your new headlight and you adjust it. So pretty simple. But actually putting in the headlight is a problem because the wiring harness doesn't really want to attach. Here's the factory headlight, that's why I got it out. As you can see, it has this little peg right here, and that peg does not want to match up with the factory harness on the aftermarket headlights. So the reviews say to trim off the top a little bit to make it kind of slide further down. Could never get that to work. I tried zip ties and everything, that never worked. It would blink sometimes and you have to reach in and actually wiggle it around to get it to start. So what I finally had to do is just put the harness on it and put 2 little wood screws right here to finally keep it together. And I've had that on there for about a year with no problems, but that's the reason I'm not actually taking out the headlight to show you. But that's a really common issue. If you read the reviews for any of these Amazon headlights, you'll find that that's the #1 problem. It's just that the wiring harness doesn't really match up right. And the next problem is the fading. Not only is the lens really bad faded after 4 years, but the actual halo ring inside is also faded, which is really strange. But not really the lens fading is my big issue, it's actually the halos themselves. When you buy them, they start off super bright and they look really good, and that lasted about a year, but then they started going downhill fast. And by 2 years, this one was about a third as bright as it was when I first got it, and the other one was like a tenth. Like it was barely on. It doesn't show in camera very well, it still shows as being real bright, but you couldn't really tell when you were looking at it in person at all. So eventually, after doing some testing and making sure it wasn't my wiring, I went ahead and unhooked the halos. So we've been going haloless, which is kind of a shame because that's kind of the whole gimmick behind these headlights, and a lot of people buy them just for the halos. Next up, we're going to compare the light output from this stock black Jeep Wrangler, or at least stock headlights, to the light output of our aftermarket headlights. So I'm going to put the green Jeep back together, and I'll catch back up with you later tonight. Alright, so I'm about to take off with the camera in the passenger seat of the Jeep in order to kind of give a direct comparison on the road, but I just wanted to give you a little sample. Here's the factory Jeep headlights. Pretty bright, but here are the aftermarket Jeep headlights. Super bright. So that kind of gives you a hint of just how these results are going to be. But I'm going to go drive around with the cameras in both Jeeps and we'll do a direct comparison. So this is the factory headlight beam, and obviously it's nothing special. It's really dim and it's kind of hard to see. To be fair, it's brighter in person, but still just not very good. Now compare that directly with the aftermarket headlight beam. Look at that, it's wider left and right, it's brighter all the way through, and instead of just shining light near the cutoff point like the factory headlights do, it actually shines light all the way from the front of the vehicle up until the cutoff point, instead of leaving a big area in between your front bumper and the headlight beam empty. All in all, your visibility is greatly increased with these headlights, and I would say driver safety is also increased. As far as the bright lights go on these aftermarket headlights, they don't really do anything when you turn on the high beams. You can kind of see signs reflect back a little bit better, but you can't really tell a difference. And from this footage, these are the high beams on, and you really can't tell at all. So to wrap it up, cheap headlights I would say are a really good purchase. You definitely get what you pay for, and I feel like upgrading to $400 or $500 headlights, you really don't get that much more. I'm ready to pick out headlights for this black Jeep right here, and I kind of want your opinion on them. I've picked out 3 from Amazon I really like. One is a JW speaker replica similar to the last set but without halos, and the other 2 are JL style headlights. I kind of like that style a little bit more, but they are a bit more expensive than the JW speaker. Those 3 headlights and every other headlight we talked about linked down below, and you can check them out and kind of get back to me on which ones you think are the best, or if you have a different recommendation, you can let me know in the comments as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like and subscribe, and I will try to do a little skit over here in the gravel if you'll subscribe for the end card. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time. Not gonna lie, that was a tad bit disappointing.